Hey everyone, Joe here. And if you spend any significant time editing your own videos or podcast episodes, you already know the biggest black hole for your schedule. I'm talking about that agonizing process of trying to distill hours of raw recording into those perfect, shareable little clips for social media platforms. Creators spend entire working days just hunting down the absolute best sound bites, painstakingly trimming out all those little verbal stumbles and stitching the pieces together. Today, I'm going to show you a method that makes that entire workflow drastically faster. And then I'll explain why you should absolutely stop obsessing over deleting every single filler word. Before we dive in, just a quick bit of housekeeping for the road. If you appreciate practical workflow tips, growth strategies for content creators, and finding tools that genuinely save you time, please consider hitting that subscribe button right now. I post these kinds of actionable breakdowns regularly because my entire mission is to help you produce more content, promote it effectively, and ultimately monetize without hitting that dreaded creator burnout wall. All right, let's get back to the core problem that plagues almost everyone in the long-form space. Most of us record a solid hour or maybe 90 minutes of conversation, and the next several hours are spent turning that into 10 or 20 short-form clips. Yes, you can manually search your transcript for every instance of or you know and cut those out using a tool like Descript, which is a perfectly fine approach for many workflows. Or perhaps you splice out all the long silences using your preferred digital audio workstation, which still eats up a considerable amount of your time. But even after the cleanup, you are still left with the most difficult part, identifying the moments that will actually perform well on social media. We are talking about isolating those incredible punchlines, those genuinely quotable insights, or those genuine surprise reactions that make people stop scrolling. Then comes the final hurdle of formatting each unique clip perfectly for the aspect ratio of Instagram, then TikTok, then YouTube Shorts, and finally queuing it all up. Let me now demonstrate how I accomplished this entire cycle in a fraction of the time using a tool called Vizard. To be perfectly clear, I am not saying tools like Descript are inherently bad. They excel when your primary need is tight, transcript-based editing and overdub functionality. However, if your key business objective is rapid content repurposing, finding those viral nuggets, making them platform ready instantly, and getting them scheduled, Vizard's workflow is specifically built to obliterate that time commitment. The first practical step in this accelerated workflow is incredibly simple. You upload your source material. I typically just drag my entire finished episode, whether it's a solo monologue or a long interview, right into the designated area. The system then immediately gets to work, analyzing the entire recording to automatically identify segments with high potential for viewer engagement. It is specifically looking for those energy spikes, those audible laugh lines, major questions posed, and powerful guest reactions. You can genuinely visualize this as the artificial intelligence completing the very first, most time-consuming pass of determining what is actually share-worthy for you. Moving into step 2, you get to review all of those intelligently generated auto clips. Crucially, Vizard doesn't just present random 30-second slices, it actually ranks these candidates based on their calculated virality potential for you. You can jump in and instantly preview every single suggested clip right within that review dashboard. If you notice that a clip needs just a tiny fraction of a second trimmed from the beginning or the end to tighten the impact, that's easily done with a simple adjustment. Adjusting the aspect ratio to perfectly suit a vertical feed versus a traditional landscape view takes practically no effort at all. Adding stylized captions or burnt-in subtitles to grab attention is also accomplished with just a few quick clicks in the editing panel. The sheer speed is what gets me. I can now comb through 20 high-quality candidate clips in the amount of time it used to take me to manually locate just one good moment. Then comes the part that truly transforms the entire game for me, and that is step 3. The scheduling integration. This eliminates the tedious, multi-step process of exporting dozens of MP4 files and then manually uploading them into separate social media scheduling applications. You simply define your desired posting frequency for each platform, say 2 clips a week on TikTok and 1 on Shorts, and then you let the system handle the rest. The AI takes these finished clips and automatically populates your content calendar according to the rules you established. Naturally, you are never locked in. You always retain the ability to drag and drop any clip to a completely different day if you need manual control. The content calendar view itself is invaluable because it gives you that complete, high-level snapshot of all your upcoming promotion in one location. If you decide one clip should be swapped for another, or you need to quickly edit the caption text for a particular post, everything is accessible right there. Repurposing a single viral piece across all your relevant channels with just a single click is another huge time saver baked into this system. For anyone seriously trying to scale their output without bringing on an extra editor, this unified management view is absolutely critical. Now, I need to pause here and be crystal clear about one major philosophical point regarding automation. Automating the selection process does not, under any circumstances, give you a free pass to blindly delete every single filler word or aggressively trim every breath. This brings us to the second, equally important half of today's discussion: why you should actively choose to leave some of those natural speech patterns intact. When you are deep in production mode, everything you hear sounds terribly sloppy to your own ears, which is completely normal. You replay your voice and think, man, I said like 12 times in that sentence, but the vast majority of listeners are not performing a word count on your hesitations. They are tuning in primarily to follow the story arc, absorb the key insight, or enjoy the entertaining moment you're delivering. If you remove every slight pause and every natural verbal tick, the resulting conversation can often start to sound unnervingly robotic and rehearsed. Ironically, the more you over-edit your conversational content in the pursuit of perfection, the less authentic and less connectable it begins to feel to your audience. I encounter this issue constantly when creators rely exclusively on text-based tools to hunt down and delete every documented filler word. Chopping out genuinely long stretches of dead air or rambling sections that add no value is absolutely a good practice for pacing. However, keeping in a few human beats, a small breath, a slight or you know, allows the clip to breathe and makes the speaker sound far more relatable. Think about movie dialogue. It sounds flawless because it is multi-take and entirely scripted, which is not what we are aiming for here. Your conversational content, like a great podcast, is supposed to feel spontaneous and engaging, and preserving some of that natural cadence usually wins for audience connection. So, what is my current optimized approach after finding these insights? I use Vizard's AI engine to nail down the most interesting content moments first, and then I deliberately apply a very light editing touch to those clips. If a sentence contains one or two ums, but the core message is genuinely fantastic and powerful, I simply leave those small artifacts in place. The only time I trim the filler is when that specific word actually clouds the main point or noticeably drags the overall energy of that short clip down. Vizard's integrated preview and quick trim tools mean I can make these final human decisions in mere seconds per clip. That synthesis of pure speed from the AI and the final check of your own human editorial judgment is truly the ideal balance point. To make this even more concrete, let's compare it to my previous process where I relied entirely on a transcript editor. I used to waste so much time scrolling through text, highlighting every single instance of, just to get rid of it, which was incredibly tedious. That method frequently resulted in awkward jumps where the host's natural speaking cadence would suddenly become frantic or unnatural. Now, the AI finds the genuinely exciting highlights first, and my role is simply confirming which tiny cuts actually enhance the clip versus which ones strip away the personality. Furthermore, the integrated auto-scheduling feature unlocks an amazing capability for constant content iteration and testing. You can now easily test two different versions of the same highlight, the perfectly cleaned one versus the one that keeps a couple of ums for that authentic vibe. Schedule both versions, monitor which one receives better engagement metrics, and then you get to learn precisely what resonates with your specific audience. That kind of data-driven testing is what separates sustainable growth from just throwing content into the void without doubling your total editing hours. Let's address the overlap in the market for a moment, because yes, other platforms are phenomenal at specific granular editing tasks. Some software truly excels at deep text-level transcript replacements, and others are fantastic at complex audio cleanup or advanced visual compositing. The crucial limitation with many of those powerful options is that they stop right at the edit. You still have to manually select, resize, caption, and cue every single post. Even worse, some enforce an aggressive filler word removal by default, which, as we discussed, often makes the final product sound strangely unnatural. Vizard's core advantage lies in its dedication to treating repurposing as a complete end-to-end problem that needs solving. It finds the moments, formats them for every platform, adds the necessary captions, and handles the scheduling, all with a minimal number of clicks, saving you real hours every single time. To wrap up with a couple of actionable tips for effectively integrating this into your own creation process. First, always let the AI conduct the heavy lifting on clip discovery, but insist on previewing every single clip before you commit it anywhere. The model is incredibly smart, but your unique editorial judgment is still the final, essential piece of the puzzle. Second, deliberately keep a small selection of raw, unedited, audio-only clips ready for platforms where sheer, unfiltered authenticity performs best. Remember that short-form content often builds the strongest connection precisely because of those small human imperfections. And third, use that content calendar actively as a testing laboratory to refine your hooks and thumbnails over time. Swap out headlines, A/B test different thumbnail visuals, and learn definitively which elements actually drive your click-through rates higher. I will be releasing a direct follow-up video where I walk through an actual episode upload in real time, showing every single screen. In that detailed session, I'll demonstrate the light trimming, the caption application, and the final scheduling across 3 different social networks. We will also cover the performance comparison interface so you can see exactly how to iterate your strategy based on real viewer data. If you are currently editing your own show and trying to grow it, this kind of automation is not a luxury, it is a genuine time-saving necessity. This workflow will not replace your unique creative voice, but it will fully automate the tedious grunt work of finding those shareable assets and pushing them into the world. If you hate the thought of sacrificing your evenings and weekends just to slice up one episode into dozens of promotional posts, this changes that fundamental reality for you. If you are ready to jump in and experience the time recapture yourself, I'll leave a link to their trial offer down in the video description below. They usually offer a trial period, so you can test this entire workflow with just one of your existing episodes and calculate your personal time savings. I will be the first to admit that no single tool is absolutely perfect for every single scenario in existence, obviously. But for the specific, recurring task of batch repurposing long-form content into shorts and managing the publishing pipeline across multiple channels, this is one of the smoothest flows I have personally ever utilized. So to summarize this entire conversation, please stop spending your valuable creative energy meticulously hunting down every single filler word in your archives. Yes, try to say them less in the moment, but do not inadvertently sterilize your content's vibe by aggressively editing out every single human breath. Utilize an intelligent tool like this to find the moments that truly matter, polish them just enough to be clear, and then aggressively scale up your posting frequency so your great work finally gets seen. If you found this specific workflow breakdown useful, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the series of deeper walkthroughs I have planned next. I'll be doing more in-depth tutorials on A/B testing clip performance and how to design a content calendar that actually drives measurable audience growth. If you're looking for a more intimate, behind-the-scenes look at how I personally manage my entire repurposing operation, consider joining the private community linked right down below. Thank you all very much for watching this breakdown today, and now go out there and create something truly worth sharing with the rest of the world.